everyone, Matt Stigliano, RA Rockstar here, and I just finished up reading a blog post by my friend Dan Green, who reports on the mortgage markets all the time. He's got an excellent blog which I'll link to below so you can check it out. But one of the things that he was talking about is, we've got these amazing interest rates at the moment. It seems like every time we say they can't go any lower, they go lower. And it's a wonderful time to be borrowing money because you're paying such a small amount of interest compared to a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. They're historically low. The problem is, with these historically low interest rates has come a strict tightening of standards and underwriting for loans. So although everybody wants to take advantage of whether it's a refinance or just buying a home and getting these great interest rates, what we're running into is some people just aren't being approved. They can't get through the system. They can't get all the documentation they need. They can't satisfy the underwriting requirements. So I've kind of just been thinking about that since I read it, and it's a terrible shame. Obviously the last handful of years we were guilty of being very loose with our regulations on or our standards on underwriting. Lenders were giving loans to people who just couldn't afford them, and it was very clear from the get-go they couldn't afford them. And here we are with all these foreclosures and everything. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, and I'm not a banker, I'm not a lender, and I can't change that. I can't change their policies. But I'm thinking to myself, why aren't we loosening the standards just a bit? I'm not saying give a loan to everybody. Not everybody can afford a loan. But here in San Antonio, where house prices are relatively cheap compared to the rest of the country, your average pay would afford you a decent house here. And yes, there's credit issues. We all have our problems that prevent us from getting a loan. And I'm not asking, for everybody to just ignore that, but perhaps, we as a country, as a lending industry, we need to find the balance. We were on one side of the pendulum, and now we're all the way over on the other side. And it's pretty obvious what it's doing. It's hurting people. It's keeping them out of getting a loan and buying a home, or buying a car, whatever it may be. Loans just aren't as easy right now. Of course, if you are thinking about buying a house, hearing this is a little frightening, and you're probably thinking, oh no, I'll never have a chance. The best thing you can do is sit down with a local lender, and please note I said local. Talk to your local lender, and let them run the numbers. Let them see. And a good local lender with good connections to their underwriter, they're able to pre-approve this mortgage a lot easier than if you go to one of the big national lenders, where the underwriter's in Tuscaloosa, and your actual loan account manager is in Bangor, Maine, and there's a guy in Florida that needs a piece of paperwork. I've worked those kinds of loans for clients, and it's very difficult. The banks tend to keep the realtor out of the picture, which makes it very impossible for me to do my job, and very stressful. I deal with it, and I keep calling them, and I won't let them leave them alone and let them get away with not telling me anything. But it's much harder. But a good local lender, they know what's going on. They have personal relationships with their underwriters. They know where their money's coming from exactly, and it just makes the process so much smoother. Recently, there was a post that I put up on the site about Scott Cummins of Cornerstone Mortgage. He closed a loan for me in 2 weeks. While some of my friends in the real estate industry are complaining that a month and a half into the process they get shot down, their clients get shot down all of a sudden because the underwriter didn't look at a piece of paper that they needed, or they found something they didn't like. Scott's there. He's in the same building. He can talk to them. He can make things happen. And I'm not saying use Scott. I'm saying find a local lender. We have a lot of them in San Antonio, and a lot of them with great reputations. If you need any names, give me a call, 210-646-HOME. I'd love to give you a couple. You check them out, sit down with them, see who you feel comfortable with. I know a lot of people, get a sense of distrust from lenders, especially now with everything that happened. And you need to trust that person. That person is, they're your lifeline to that loan. So, sit down with them, talk to them. It's the same with us, with realtors. When you want to go find a realtor, I always tell you, go interview somebody other than me. Give me the job, obviously, because I'm going to do a great job for you. But, you should be talking to other people. And if you're not comfortable with me, please, by all means, pick someone else. So, those are my thoughts about the mortgages at the moment. As you can see, the sun's in and out behind the clouds today. It's a really nice day here in San Antonio, and hopefully you're out doing something pleasant and sunny and warm, and you're not stuck in snow somewhere. I already see there's snow happening around the country. Something I definitely don't miss about living here in San Antonio. So, hope you're all having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you about this. Bye.